What is going on, guys? NanoPrince93 here with another video, and today we're going to talk about a widget that I made a video about 2 months ago, and you guys seem to really enjoy the widget, really like the video, so the developer actually reached out to me. They told me that they were going to update it to this new 4.0 software, and there's going to be a bunch of new features, an abundance of new kind of like nerdy little things that you can kind of get into it. So I want to show you guys what they updated on it, and if it's actually worth maybe spending that extra $1 for the in-app purchase. But let's hop right into it, guys, right now. Back to this cool view that we actually showed off in the last video, and I wanted to show you guys just from the beginning where the widget would actually live, because again, I'm on iPadOS 14 beta 4, and obviously third-party widgets aren't allowed to be shown off, at least on the iPadOS 14 front. So we're still stuck with the iPadOS 13 functionality and that look, which you guys can see right here. So it's going to be at the bottom of your widget screen. So the less iPadOS 14 native widgets you have, the higher up on the widget menu it's going to be. But this is the usage app, and I took away 2 of the views just to show you guys how to actually input new views. So usage at a base level just gives you system level statistics of your actual iPad. So you get to see how many gigs of space I have left. I've used 146 of my 256. You can see how much battery I have, and then you can also actually add more, so I can look at, you know, the data that's moving in and out. So today you can see that I've used almost 1 GB of data coming in, right? And then you can choose other views. For instance, my connection. You can see that I'm on Wi-Fi, there's no data going in and out, so it gives you, again, a nice little at-a-glance information of some of your system-wide settings, which is something that I've always had on the macOS side, and it's been hard to find on the iPadOS side. So this is the widget in itself. Normally on iPadOS 13, it was my second widget underneath my weather widget, because I really like to see it at a glance, but for right now it's right here, and once they do have the iPadOS 14 third-party, acceptance of those widgets, then I'm definitely going to move it up a little bit. But I do want to show you guys the actual application, because the application is where you control everything. So this is the usage main screen. Again, it gives you pretty much the information that you had on the widget screen, but in bigger format and with a little more data. So again, this is what you get, and again, any free user gets this insight. So any free user gets the ability to customize their widget, get the insights of that information at a glance, and then again, here, everything that's included here is going to be for the free version of the application. But when it gets to the paid version, I'm going to show you guys what you get, which is, again, a little bit more insight. So the first thing you do get is the ability to configure the updates. So you see this button on the bottom of each panel. It's configure update. So it basically allows you to customize how often usage is pulling information from your iPad. You can update it every 4 seconds, every 2 seconds, or literally every single second. And then you can even go more and look into more configurations, right? So you can have it so it's always looking at it at all times, or it's only looking at information when it's visible, meaning when the application is up or when the widget is up. I like to have it always on. And then again, you can do the same thing for data and storage. So you can get out of here, and again, that's part of the in-app purchase. That's what you're spending $1 for. And you can do the same thing for all the different panels. So the configuration is basically how often the application is trying to read the data. Where it gets a little cooler is when you get into the data, right? You get to look at data insights. So it gives you a low-level information of what you've been doing from a network perspective and a data perspective. So you get to see the intervals, during the time period, how much megabytes or how many megabytes or gigabytes of data you've taken in. And then there is also an untracked period, which you can see, which was before I even had the app, which is kind of cool. And then if you go into the data settings, so if you go into data settings, you can actually change when your periods start, you can change period limits and visibility, which is awesome. And then again, every single panel has that configure update. And then the network interference was the one, which again, it gets very, very nerdy, but it's kind of cool. But again, it's a low level interference. So don't go in here trying to test it and do crazy interference network capabilities and try to break the system, because it will break it down, right? You will be able to bypass it and it won't be able to read like a high-level network interference. But low-level ones, if you're just at home and you can kind of see what's going on around you with your Wi-Fi, which is awesome to have. And then it gives you, again, battery health and then the actual device. Another thing that you can do with the actual paid version, which is kind of interesting, is actually it takes the actual system. So I have the iPad Pro 12.9 3rd gen. It gives you all the specs, physical and software-wise, hardware-wise, camera-wise, everything. And then what you can do, let's say you're thinking about getting a new one, you can select the model and compare the specs directly to any other iOS or iPadOS device ever. So I can kind of compare it to the original iPad, so you can see 2010, iPadOS iPhone OS 13.2, it didn't even have a regular iOS, right? Because before it was iPhone OS, not just iOS. It gives you, what kind of technology it had, and it's kind of cool to see. So that's another thing that you can do with the usage app. It lets you give you a live comparison of old devices to your current device, and then if you want to upgrade, you can also look at current device to a new device and see if it's worth spending that money. So for instance, if I want to upgrade to the iPad Pro 4th gen, I can go in and be like, hey, it's really not that big of a difference, I'm happy with what I have, I'm gonna wait till the 5th gen comes out. And then this last section is the configure section. So as a normal free user, you have the ability to change the order of the view. So you're going to be able to move this around and then go back to your usage and see that now storage is at the top instead of memory. And then for paid users, you can actually change the color of the application. So you can see that the U is now blue, and if I go to the home screen, the U is blue. And if I go back and I change it to white, I press OK, you can see that the logo has changed, and then also on the widget, the color has changed. So that's cool, a nice little customization feature. I didn't know that apps can change their color. That's the first time I've seen an app icon change their color after it's been downloaded. So that's really cool. And then the last about section is just Usage Pro and being able to purchase it. So that's pretty much usage in a nutshell, and I really like that. It's just a great way to see all your information at a glance, and thank goodness for iPadOS Beta 3, because that is what saved my third-party iPadOS 13 widgets, because before I wasn't even able to use it. So that's going to do it for this video. Let's go back to the normal view. So that is the usage app, especially with the new updates. So at the end of the day, it's only $1 for the in-app purchase, and it gives you, those little extra in-app purchases or the little extra configurations and customizations that you wouldn't otherwise have with the free version, like changing the colors, being able to see if you have any network interference, at a low level at least. So there's a couple things there which I do think are worth $1, and at the end of the day, you're just supporting the developer. So there's a bunch of things in there that I think are worth that $1, and even some of you guys mentioned that you would pay up to $5 for an app like this. So at the end of the day, it's just to help the developer. But that's going to do it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, peace.